claimed by the billionaire. The contract was business until he recognized her mother's eyes. The fluorescent lights of the diner cast harsh shadows across Maya Rodriguez's tired face as she counted the crumpled bills for the third time. $47. After rent, utilities, and groceries, it would have to last until next Friday's paycheck from her second job at the hotel. The math never worked, no matter how many times she ran the numbers. "Mom, can I get chocolate chip pancakes?" 8-year-old Sofia bounced in the worn vinyl booth, her dark eyes bright despite the early Saturday morning hour. Maya's heart clenched. When was the last time she'd been able to say yes to something that simple? "How about we share the regular pancakes, mija? They're just as good." Sofia's face fell for just a moment before she forced a smile. "Okay, Mom, that sounds perfect." The guilt hit Maya like a physical blow. Her daughter never complained, never threw tantrums in stores when Maya said they couldn't afford something. At 8 years old, Sofia had learned to expect disappointment, and that knowledge sat heavy in Maya's chest. The diner bell chimed, and Maya glanced up automatically. 3 men in expensive suits walked in, looking completely out of place among the truckers and night shift workers. The tallest one caught her attention immediately, not just because of his commanding presence, but because something about his profile seemed familiar. He turned, scanning the room, and their eyes met across the crowded space. Maya's breath caught. Those weren't just any green eyes. They were the same unusual shade of jade she saw every time she looked at her daughter. The same eyes that had haunted her dreams for 9 years. Ethan Cross, billionaire tech mogul. The man whose face graced Forbes covers and whose company, Cross Dynamics, employed half of Seattle. The man who had no idea he had a daughter. Maya's hands trembled as she reached for her coffee cup. This couldn't be happening. Not here, not now, not when she was barely holding her life together. "Maya!" His voice carried across the diner, deeper than she remembered but unmistakably his. Maya Santos. Santos, her maiden name. The name she'd used during that summer internship at his father's company 9 years ago, before she'd married Carlos and become Maya Rodriguez. Before Carlos died in Afghanistan, leaving her a widow at 24 with a baby girl who had her father's eyes. Sofia looked up curiously as the tall stranger approached their table. Maya's protective instincts kicked in, and she subtly shifted to block his view of her daughter. "It's Maya Rodriguez now," she said quietly, her voice steadier than she felt. "Hello, Ethan." He slid uninvited into the booth across from them, his expensive cologne clashing with the diner's smell of coffee and bacon grease. Up close, she could see the lines around his eyes that hadn't been there before, the silver threading through his dark hair. Success had marked him, but so had something else. Exhaustion, maybe, or loneliness. "I've been looking for you," he said simply. Maya's heart hammered against her ribs. "Why?" "Because of this." He pulled out his phone and showed her a news article. The headline made her stomach drop. Cross Foundation seeks unknown beneficiary of Patricia Cross's private trust. Maya's hands went numb. Patricia Cross, Ethan's mother, the woman who had befriended Maya during that long-ago internship. The woman who had died in a car accident just weeks after Maya discovered she was pregnant. "My mother left specific instructions," Ethan continued, his voice low so other diners couldn't overhear. "Before she died, she established a trust fund, $25 million, earmarked for Maya Santos and any children she might have. The lawyers have been searching for you for months. $25 million. The number was so large it felt abstract, impossible." Maya looked at her daughter, who was trying to listen while pretending to color on her paper placemat. "Why would she do that?" Maya whispered. Ethan's jaw tightened. "That's what I've been trying to figure out. The trust was established right after you left the internship program. My mother never explained it, and she made sure the paperwork was sealed until after her death." His green eyes, Sofia's eyes, studied Maya's face intently. I think you know why, though. Maya's throat felt like sandpaper. This was the moment she'd dreaded and secretly longed for since Sofia was born. The moment when she'd have to decide whether to tell the truth or protect them both from a complicated reality. "Mom?" Sofia's small voice cut through the tension. "Is everything okay?" Maya forced a smile. "Everything's fine, baby. This is an old friend of Mommy's from work." Ethan's gaze shifted to Sofia, and Maya watched his face change. The confident businessman facade cracked as he took in the little girl's features. The stubborn chin that was pure Maya, but those unmistakable eyes. "How old is she?" His voice was barely above a whisper. 8, Maya said, the word hanging between them like a confession. The silence stretched until Sofia, oblivious to the undercurrents, piped up with characteristic friendliness. "I'm Sofia Rodriguez. What's your name?" "Ethan," he managed, his voice rough. "Ethan Cross." Sofia's face lit up. "Like the big building downtown with your name on it? That's so cool. Mom, remember when we walked by there and I said I wanted to work in a building that tall someday?" Maya's heart broke a little more. Her brilliant, ambitious daughter, dreaming of heights Maya could never provide access to. Ethan cleared his throat. "Sofia, would you like those chocolate chip pancakes you were asking about earlier?" "Oh!" Sofia's face transformed with delight before she caught herself, glancing at Maya. "That's very nice, but Mom says we should share regular pancakes because we're watching our budget," Maya finished gently. "Sofia, why don't you go wash your hands while Mr. Cross and I finish talking?" When Sofia skipped toward the restroom, Ethan leaned forward. "She's mine, isn't she?" Maya had rehearsed this conversation in her mind 1,000 times, but now that the moment was here, she found herself completely unprepared. "Ethan." "My mother knew. It wasn't a question. That's why she set up the trust. She knew she had a granddaughter." "How could she have known? I never told anyone. You worked directly with her on the charity foundation that summer. She was sharp, Maya. Sharp enough to notice when a brilliant young intern suddenly quit without explanation. Sharp enough to do the math when she never heard from you again." Maya remembered Patricia Cross vividly. Elegant, kind, with the same intense intelligence as her son. She'd been the first truly wealthy person who'd ever treated Maya as an equal, spending hours discussing ideas and dreams over lunch in the corporate cafeteria. "She tried to reach out to you," Ethan continued. "The lawyers found letters she'd drafted but never sent. She wanted to help, but she was afraid of overstepping, afraid of making assumptions." "And you?" Maya's voice was barely audible. "What do you want?" Ethan was quiet for a long moment, watching Sofia through the window of the restroom door. "I want to know my daughter. I want to understand why you never told me. And I want to make sure you both have everything you need." The last part stung. Maya straightened, her pride flaring. "We're doing fine on our own." "Are you?" His eyes took in her faded jeans, her second-hand sweater, the anxiety that she tried so hard to hide. "When's the last time you bought yourself something new? When's the last time Sofia got to do something just because she wanted to, not because you could afford it?" "Money isn't everything." "No, it's not. But lack of it is something. It's staying up at night worried about rent. It's telling your daughter she can't have chocolate chip pancakes. It's working 2 jobs and still barely making it." His voice softened. "I'm not judging you, Maya. I'm offering help." Sofia bounced back to the table and Maya quickly wiped her eyes before her daughter could see the tears. "Mr. Cross, are you really rich like on TV?" Sofia asked with 8-year-old directness. Ethan chuckled, and for a moment Maya saw the young man she'd fallen for during that magical summer. "I do okay. More importantly, I hear you want to work in tall buildings someday. What kind of work?" "I want to help people," Sofia said seriously. "Like maybe make apps that help kids learn better, or buildings that don't hurt the environment. Mom says I'm good at fixing problems. Ethan's expression grew thoughtful. Your mom is right. Problem solving is the most important skill anyone can have. He looked at Maya. She gets that from both of us. The comment hung in the air, loaded with implication. Sofia, oblivious, continued chattering about her dreams and plans, but Maya saw how Ethan hung on every word, storing away details about the daughter he'd never known existed. Maya, he said finally, I'd like to propose something. Not just the trust fund. That's yours by right, according to my mother's wishes. I'd like to offer you a job. Maya blinked. A job? Cross Dynamics is expanding our social impact division. We need someone to head up our new community outreach program. Someone who understands what it's like to navigate systems that aren't built for everyone. The salary is substantial, and there are benefits, including education assistance. Mom, that sounds amazing. Sofia bounced in her seat. You could help so many people. Maya's mind raced. It sounded too good to be true, which usually meant it was. What's the catch? No catch, just good business. You have insights we need, and experience we can't buy. Ethan paused. And it would mean spending time together, all of us, getting to know each other properly. Maya looked at her daughter, bright and eager and full of potential that Maya could barely afford to nurture. Then she looked at Ethan, seeing past the billionaire facade to the man underneath, someone who seemed genuinely shaken by the discovery of Sofia's existence, genuinely committed to doing right by them both. I need time to think about it, she said finally. Of course. Ethan pulled out a business card and wrote something on the back. That's my personal number. Call me when you're ready to talk. He stood, then hesitated. Maya, thank you for raising her so well. She's incredible. As he walked away, Sofia tugged on Maya's sleeve. Mom, he seemed nice and sad. Why did he seem sad? Maya pulled her daughter close, breathing in the scent of her shampoo, feeling the solid warmth of her small body. Sometimes grown-ups have complicated feelings, Mija. It doesn't mean anything bad. But as they walked home through Seattle's drizzling rain, Maya couldn't shake the feeling that everything was about to change. The question was whether she was brave enough to let it. 3 days later, Maya stood outside the gleaming Cross Dynamics building, Sofia's hand tight in hers. The security guard had been expecting them, and within minutes they were rising in a glass elevator toward the 50th floor. This is so cool. Sofia pressed her face against the glass, watching the city shrink below them. Look how small everything looks from up here. Maya's stomach churned, and not just from the height. She'd called Ethan the night before, after lying awake wrestling with her options. The trust fund alone would solve all their immediate problems, but accepting it felt like accepting charity. The job offer was different. It was something she could earn, something that honored her skills and experience. The elevator opened directly into Ethan's office suite. Floor-to-ceiling windows offered a panoramic view of Elliott Bay, and Maya recognized several original paintings she'd only seen in museums. But what struck her most was how the space felt lived in rather than just impressive. There were books everywhere, a half-finished chess game on a side table, and family photos mixed in with the awards and accolades. Maya! Sofia! Ethan emerged from behind his desk, and Maya was surprised to see he looked nervous. Thank you for coming. Mr. Cross. Sofia ran toward him with typical enthusiasm. Your office is incredible. Is that the Space Needle? And the water looks so pretty from up here. Would you like to see the view from the conference room? It's even better. Ethan glanced at Maya for permission, and she nodded. As Sofia explored, Ethan and Maya stood by the windows in awkward silence. I've been thinking about what you said, Maya began. About the job. And I want to accept, but I have conditions. Ethan raised an eyebrow. I'm listening. First, this has to be a real job with real expectations. I won't be a token hire or charity case. If I don't perform, you fire me like anyone else. Agreed. Second, we take things slow with Sofia. She doesn't know who you are yet, and I want to control how and when she finds out. Ethan nodded, though Maya could see the struggle in his expression. That's fair. It's your call. Third, the trust fund goes into an account for Sofia's future. College, whatever she needs when she's older. I don't touch it for day-to-day expenses. Maya, that money was meant to help you both. This job will help us both. The trust fund is for her future. Maya's voice was firm. Those are my terms. Ethan studied her for a long moment, then smiled. My mother always said you were stubborn. She said the same thing about you. Fair enough. He extended his hand. Welcome to Cross Dynamics, Maya Rodriguez. As they shook hands, Sofia came running back with excitement practically radiating from her small frame. Mom, there's a whole wall of pictures of people Mr. Cross's company has helped. Families and kids and schools and everything. This is exactly the kind of work you wanted to do. Maya looked at the hope in her daughter's eyes, felt the strength in Ethan's handshake, and for the first time in years, allowed herself to believe that maybe, just maybe, things were going to be okay. 6 weeks into her new job, Maya had found her rhythm. The work was challenging and fulfilling, and she'd quickly earned the respect of her team. More importantly, Sofia was thriving. She'd joined the after-school program at the company's on-site child care center, where she could work on homework and explore her interests in a safe, nurturing environment. What Maya hadn't expected was how naturally Ethan had integrated himself into their lives. He showed up to Sofia's soccer games, helped with math homework during the dinner breaks he'd started joining them for, and listened with genuine interest to Sofia's endless stream of ideas and observations. He's not like other grown-ups, Sofia confided one evening as Maya tucked her into bed. He actually pays attention when I talk, you know? Like, really listens. Maya knew exactly what she meant. Ethan had always had that quality, the ability to make whoever he was with feel like the most important person in the room. It was part of what had made her fall for him 9 years ago, and part of what made her nervous now. Because somewhere between the professional collaboration and the family dinners, between watching him teach Sofia chess and seeing his face light up when she laughed at his terrible dad jokes, Maya was falling for him again, and that terrified her. The problem was, she still didn't know if his interest in her was genuine or just an extension of his commitment to Sofia. Every touch, every smile, every moment of connection was colored by the question, would he be here, if not for Sofia? The answer came on a rainy Thursday evening when Sofia was at a sleepover and Maya was working late in her office. Ethan knocked on her door around 8, looking uncharacteristically uncertain. I brought dinner, he said, holding up a bag from their favorite Thai restaurant. Thought you might be hungry. They ate in comfortable silence, but Maya could sense something building in the air between them. Maya, Ethan said finally, setting down his chopsticks. We need to talk about what's happening here. Maya's stomach clenched. What do you mean? I mean, the way you look at me when you think I'm not paying attention. I mean the way I find excuses to touch your hand when we're reviewing reports. I mean the fact that I haven't been able to stop thinking about you since that day in the diner. Maya's heart hammered against her ribs. Ethan, I know this is complicated. I know you're probably wondering if I'm only interested because of Sofia. He moved his chair closer to hers. But I need you to know that's not true. Yes, I love getting to know my daughter. Yes, I want to be part of her life. But what I feel for you, that's separate. That's real. Maya searched his face, looking for any sign of deception. How can I be sure? Instead of answering with words, Ethan reached across the small space between them and cupped her face in his hands. Because I felt it 9 years ago, before there was a Sofia. Because I never forgot you, even when I tried to move on. Because the woman I fell for that summer is still here, still brilliant and stubborn and beautiful, and I never got the chance to tell her how much she meant to me. When he kissed her, Maya felt 9 years of walls and defenses crumble. This was what she'd been afraid to hope for. Not just security for Sofia, but love for herself. Real, complicated, adult love that acknowledged their past while building toward a future. They broke apart slowly, foreheads touching, breathing each other's air. "So what happens now?" Maya whispered. "Now we figure it out together," Ethan said. "All three of us, as a family." The word hung in the air between them, full of promise and possibility. Maya thought of Sofia, sleeping peacefully at her friend's house, dreaming whatever dreams 8-year-olds dream. Tomorrow they would have to tell her the truth about Ethan, about their history, about the family they were becoming. It wouldn't be simple. There would be adjustments and challenges, moments of doubt and growing pains. But as Maya looked into Ethan's green eyes, Sofia's eyes, she realized that some things were worth the complexity. "Yes," she said simply, "let's figure it out together." Outside, the Seattle rain continued to fall, washing the city clean and preparing the ground for new growth. Inside, 3 hearts beat toward the same rhythm, finally in sync after years of searching for their missing pieces. The contract that had brought them together was business, but what they were building now was something infinitely more valuable. A family, chosen and claimed and fought for, bound not by obligation but by love.